Fokker 100 was designed to dominate the regional jet market, but its crippling production costs completely undermined its success. As manufacturing losses rapidly mounted, the company drained its financial reserves. The unsustainable deficit directly triggered the iconic Dutch manufacturer's bankruptcy in 1996. Handley Page HP 137 Jetstream was a bold push into the executive turboprop market, yet escalating development expenses quickly turned into a financial disaster. Mounting engineering debts swallowed all available capital, forcing the historic British aviation firm directly into liquidation. Dornier 328 Jet seemed like the perfect regional feeder, but rampant development costs and sluggish market sales utterly destroyed its financial viability. Parent builder Fairchild Dornier burned through its funding trying to sustain production, collapsing into full insolvency by 2002. Adam A500 was pitched as a revolutionary twin-engine aircraft, but excessive structural weight issues and brutal certification delays devoured its budget. The constant cash drain left the company completely paralyzed, forcing Adam Aircraft Industries straight into Chapter 7 liquidation in 2008. Adam A700 was intended to save the company through the booming, very light jet market, but testing expenses blew past every financial projection. Without adequate funding to secure final certification, the program collapsed and cemented Adam Aircraft's total bankruptcy shortly after its predecessor failed. Eclipse 500 promised affordable personal jet travel to the masses, yet unrealistic price guarantees and severe assembly bottlenecks crushed those ambitions. Expenses skyrocketed while deliveries stalled, causing Eclipse Aviation to bleed money until it formally filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2008. Sino Swearingen SJ30 suffered through 2 decades of frustrating development hurdles and endless budget overruns. The enormous financial drain wiped out investor resources, eventually driving the original business entity into bankruptcy and forced reorganization before meaningful production ever got off the ground. ATG Javelin aimed to transform executive travel with a sleek military-style personal jet, but research expenses rapidly outpaced capital reserves. Unable to secure the massive funding required for full production, Aviation Technology Group was forced to halt operations and file for bankruptcy in 2008. Aerion AS2 promised a brand new era of supersonic business travel, yet the astronomical costs of high-speed aerodynamics proved fatal. When crucial funding fell through, Aerion Supersonic was overwhelmed by its financial liabilities, shutting down and filing for bankruptcy in 2021. Saunders ST-27 was designed as an upgraded feeder airliner, but unpredicted certification expenses and expensive structural modifications broke the company's finances. With debts mounting and sales failing to recover invested capital, Saunders Aircraft Corporation was forced directly into receivership. Beat BD-5 generated immense excitement as a home-built microjet, but chronic engine supply failures and massive pre-order liabilities ruined the enterprise. Unable to fulfill customer orders while debt surged out of control, Beat Aircraft folded into Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1979. Air's LM200 Loadmaster was built for heavy cargo duties, but persistent engine pairing development failures stalled the entire program. The company expended its remaining assets attempting to solve the propulsion system, leaving Airs Corporation helpless against bankruptcy in 2001. Piper PA-42 Cheyenne encountered severe design revisions and unexpected liability burdens that drained company resources. These staggering development costs, combined with a slump in general aviation, directly contributed to Piper Aircraft entering Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 1991. Mooney M22 Mustang was an ambitious pressurized aircraft, but its engineering expenses vastly exceeded early sales projections. The massive capital drain quickly overwhelmed the factory's cash flow, driving Mooney into its very first formal bankruptcy proceeding back in 1969. Swearingen Merlin established a solid presence in business aviation, yet the relentless cash burn during its development period created severe corporate debt. Running completely out of working capital before achieving profitable production levels, Swearingen Aircraft was forced into receivership in 1971. Learjet 85 pushed the boundaries with composite airframe tech, but endless engineering setbacks resulted in crippling financial write-offs. Parent builder Bombardier was forced to halt the project, ultimately putting the subsidiary into bankruptcy restructuring and closing down the historic brand for good. Aero Design DG1, was an ultra-complex custom air racer whose engineering demands continuously exceeded initial budget estimates. Draining every cent of available funding without achieving commercial viability, the project completely destroyed corporate assets and bankrupted aero design during development. Volmer VJ22 Sportsman was popular with amateur builders, but attempting to produce factory-built versions generated insurmountable overhead expenses. High setup costs and weak order volumes rapidly exhausted capital reserves, sending the manufacturing venture straight into financial collapse. Visionaire VA-10 Vantage promised a single-engine jet experience, but initial prototype flaws forced extensive redesigns that consumed millions in capital. Unable to attract the additional investment needed to finish certification, Visionaire was driven directly into bankruptcy in 2003. Velocity Twin was designed to offer twin-engine safety in a sleek composite kit plane, yet development overruns severely stretched finances. Unforeseen engineering costs accumulated faster than sales revenue could offset, eventually plunging Velocity Aircraft into insolvency long before steady production was established. Taylor Aerocar captured the imagination as a functional flying automobile, but setting up mass production required far more capital than existed. Unfulfilled commercial delivery contracts and ongoing engineering costs bled the firm dry, ultimately driving Aerocar Incorporated right into full liquidation. Cessna 162 Skycatcher suffered from major assembly issues in overseas factories alongside severe weight miscalculations. The program lost over $120 million and turned into such a disaster that Cessna liquidated the light sport aircraft division entirely. Avtec 400 showcased futuristic composite materials, but the immense cost of securing regulatory flight approval drained all existing working capital. Without the resources to complete the certification process, Avtec Corporation sank beneath its mounting debt and entered bankruptcy proceedings. Aviation traders ATL-98 Carver converted classic airliners into unique vehicle haulers, but heavy engineering overhead quickly eroded all profit margins. Struggling under high modification expenses and limited sales orders, aviation traders collapsed financially and filed for bankruptcy. Omniturbo 3 Twin Otter sought to capitalize on engine modification STCs, but obtaining flight certification absorbed far more capital than planned. The financial strain of extended development crushed the company's operating funds, forcing Omni Aircraft directly into bankruptcy before turning a profit. Epic LT offered exceptional turboprop speed, but protracted certification costs combined with internal corporate disputes exhausted funding. Operating at an unsustainable loss while attempting to transition into full production, Epic Aircraft went completely broke and entered bankruptcy in 2009. Dayton Wright TA-3 attempted to compete in the post-war military trainer market, but development setbacks and shrinking defense budgets crippled sales. Unable to recoup its substantial R&D expenses, Dayton Wright ceased operations and underwent total corporate liquidation in 1923. Found FBA-2 was built for tough bush flying, but high production overhead consistently outstripped revenue from a low sales volume. Depleting its financial reserves while attempting to scale manufacturing, Found Aircraft was forced to declare bankruptcy and cease production in 1968. Chaika L-42 was an ambitious twin-engine amphibious aircraft, but the high costs of flight testing and regulatory approval completely exhausted corporate funds. Unable to secure additional backing to sustain manufacturing, the Russian Design Bureau collapsed into bankruptcy during development. STOL Aircraft UC-1 Twin B offered impressive amphibian capabilities, yet converting standard airframes into twin-engine variants required tremendous capital. Sluggish market adoption failed to generate necessary cash flow, driving United Consultant Corporation into bankruptcy during production.